So I said the biggest stock market crash is still coming. And this was after the 2008 crash. And the reason I could predict that the 2008 crash was just a prelude for the bigger crash coming, which we are in today in 2022. I mean, even China's crashing today, because they never fixed the problem. In fact, the whole problem is that the global economic system is rigged. It's called the central bank system. You know, the Bank of Japan, the Bank of England, Bank of Japan, stuff like this. This whole system is rigged. And so what happened, 2008 crash, and then what that set up the biggest, as you know, because your experience on Wall Street, it set up the biggest bull market in history. But it was based upon fake money. They just kept printing more, using more debt, because as you know, Brian, money is debt. If we don't borrow money, money doesn't exist. So money comes into existence because every time you use a credit card, take out a mortgage, buy a car, that's when money is created. And that goes back to 1913. Again, the Federal Reserve Bank was created. You know, central banks, which is Marxism. And then in 1913, in America, the Internal Revenue Service was created, the IRS, because money cannot exist without debt and taxes. So I'm sitting there going, holy moly. You know, so every time I talk to you, I get the chills because you are on the inside of it. And I'm on the outside trying to figure it out. And what are these guys up to? And so that's why I wrote this book here. You can say, well, Kiyosaki is full of shit. You know, he's bullshitting. Read the fucking book. That's what I'm saying. You know, I mean, I practice what I preach, and I do what I say I'm doing. So anyway, that's how I could write prophecy. And as you know, in 2021, China collapsed. And that's why COVID appeared again. Notice that? So Evergrande, which is the biggest, I think it's bigger than Lehman Brothers crash. And Evergrande's going down. Now, when real estate goes down, it's a financial crash more than anything else. They have 90 million condos in China not occupied. So what that does is it's this big sucking sound, you know, like it's going down the toilet right now. When real estate goes down, it takes all the economies of the world with it. Like, you know, Australia, one of my favorite countries, ships a lot of supplies to China. And there, Australia was booming because China was booming with real estate. And so in 2021, when it collapsed, that means Australia collapses more. But that's why I think Australia locked the country down also. Everybody to stay indoors and all this. I personally think they're afraid of civil unrest. And so I think that's why, you know, COVID appeared in, you know, September 17, 2019, our repo market collapsed. And the repo market is the shadow banking system, as they call it. You don't see that market, but I'm watching the shadow banking system. And when the repo market collapsed in September 17, 2019, voila, COVID appeared. A lot of the people giving financial advice, all they know is a bull market.
Yeah.
You see, they were born, you know, just prior to 2008. They're now probably, let's say, 25 years old. They're financial planners, real estate brokers. And all they know is the S&P keeps going up. Don't fight the Fed. I mean, they're idiots. But unfortunately, without financial education in our schools, you can't blame them. But they don't know what a bear market looks like. And they don't know what inflation looks like, because inflation has made them rich. Because the Fed, you know, what do they say? 40% of all money was printed in the last 2 years or something, some stuff like that. I don't know if it's true or not. But the M2, the money supply, is so huge today because they're trying to prevent the balloon from collapsing. They're desperate. Well, I think why is there inflation is they're trying to prevent the collapse. And Jim Rickards, you know, he's one of the smartest guys I know. He says, prepare, we're going to collapse. And as you know, people don't understand, most 98% don't understand this. The dollar is a reserve currency of the world, which came about in 1944 with the Bretton Woods Agreement. We can just keep printing money. But the rest of the world's collapsing right now. And everybody depends upon the US printing. But that's why I watched China. And when Evergrande came down in 2021, the biggest real estate collapse in history, bigger than 2008. And all of a sudden, they lock people down with COVID. I'm going, I've seen this story before because it happened in 2019. They're desperate, Brian. They're desperate. They're looking for anything that can stop this thing. But every time they said to me, "Don't fight the Fed," I'm saying, "Don't trust the Fed." Was my stay. Why would I trust those SOBs? They're a central bank system. The Rothschilds and all those guys controlled them. The richest families in the world control the central banks. And you said you pull the curtain aside. It's like the story of the Wizard of Oz. You pull the curtain aside. There's a little guy back there called the Fed chairman, trying to keep the economy from collapsing on them. But they're going to keep printing and printing and printing until the thing is destroyed.